Hello there, it's Dixon Daniel here, and I'm glad to be with you again this week with another video. The last video I dropped on this channel was about the Israeli and Palestine conflict, explaining it in a simple way and bringing the history from the Bible, right? But ever since I dropped that video, there's been some of my, let me say, Islamic brothers or Muslim friends that have been dropping me a particular picture. They keep sending it to my DM and all those things, and I'll show you now. All right, so they've been sending me this picture. This picture, you can see what it depicts. 1945, the Israeli and the Palestinians. So don't feed everyone you see suffering. Then some just need strength to bite you. And then they sent me something like this. I've been saying this 1946. And this is what happened 1947. This 1967, 2000. Well, and that's what they've been sending. Going through those pictures, all I could do is to just smile, because those pictures does not depict the true history of the Israeli and Palestine. It does not depict the true history. I mean, it's a narrative going around. It's a narrative going around, but it's not the truth about the history of the Israelites and the Palestine, right? Before I show you this video, and there's another video done by another a Jewish scholar and speaker and an historian by the name Dr. Gabor. You'll see that now. But before then, you know what we do on this channel. This channel is dedicated strictly to topics on personal development, spiritual development, personal finance, and self-improvement. If this topic seems like something that you are interested in and you will enjoy getting content on, kindly subscribe to my channel right now. Hit up the like button, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I drop a new video, and do well to share this video. If this video bless you in any way, do well to share it with your family and friends. All right, so having said that, let's see what Dr. Gabor has to say about his experience, his knowledge about the Israeli and Palestine conflict.
This is one of the issues that's closest to my heart, and it has been for a long time. So, you know my history, I don't have to repeat it, but I'm personally a Holocaust survivor as an infant. I barely survived. My grandparents were killed in Auschwitz, and most of my extended family was killed. That's my personal background. I grew up ashamed of my Jewishness. In Hungary, after the war, I was still bullied for being Jewish. And I remember one of my friends coming to my rescue once saying, "Leave him alone, it's not his fault that he's Jewish." It's a fault, but it's not his fault. This was the defense. So I grew up with that. In my teenage years in Canada, I became a Zionist. This dream of the Jewish people resurrected in their historical homeland, and the barbed wire of Auschwitz being replaced by the boundaries of a Jewish state with a powerful army. I found it liberating. It was exhilarating to believe in that dream. And I absorbed all that perspective, all that point of view, and I really believed in it. And then I found out that it wasn't exactly like that. That in order to make this Jewish dream a reality, we had to visit a nightmare on the local population. You couldn't, there was a Zionist slogan called a land without a people for a people without a land. But there was no there was no land without a people. There was people living there who'd been living there for hundreds and years or even longer. As a matter of fact, if you want to hear something really interesting, and David Ben-Gurion, who was the first prime minister of Israel, actually subscribed to this. He said this: "Who are the Palestinians?" Because the Jews in Roman times all of them never left Palestine. Many of them stayed there, and some of them, hundreds of years later, converted to Islam. So guess who the Palestinians are? In some ways, they might be descendants of ancient Jews. They are cousins, to say the least, no matter how you look at it. And and there's no way you could have ever created a Jewish state without oppressing and expelling the local population, which is what they did in 1947, beginning in 1947, and first of all with British Empire protection, but they did this, and then in 1948, Jewish Israeli historians, have shown without a doubt that the expulsion of the Palestinians was persistent, it was pervasive, it was cruel, it was murderous, and with deliberate attempt. So that's what's called the Nakba in Arabic.
Going through this video, it's a video that supports the narrative, the picture I dropped earlier was trying to depict, you see. And like I told you in my earlier video, I made you understand that, some of these Jews and as well as the Palestinians, they came into this history at a point in life. What I mean is that before people like the Dr. Gabor and all of them, there's been generation and generation. So it's from the point that they gave birth to them that most of them pick history from. This is what they understood. This is what they see. This is what they've accepted as truth. You see, but we need to go backward. We need to still go further back. I mean, we need to look back into history. Look back into history, into as way back as 3000 BC. You see, to really understand what was the situation in those regions. You see, and let's see this video by Israel Prime Minister by Benjamin Netanyahu. You see, it's just a 3-minute video, but it captures the issue of the Israelites in 3 minutes, more or less. Like I saw it after I made my video, and I was like, oh, this captures it perfectly. All right, so let's see what he has to say.
Jewish people have lived in the land of Israel, what is now the state of Israel, have lived here and have been attached to this place for about 3,500 years, 3.5 millennia. Now, roughly for 2,000 years, we were conquered by the Romans, we were conquered by the Byzantines. They did a lot of bad things to us, but they didn't really exile us, contrary to what people think, okay? The loss of our land actually occurred when the Arab conquest took place in the 7th century. The Arabs burst out from Arabia, and they did something that no other conqueror, not the Romans, not the Byzantines, not the Greeks before them, not Alexander the Great, nobody did before. They actually started taking over the land of the Jewish farmer. They brought in military colonies that took over the land. And gradually, over the next 2 centuries, the Jews became a minority in our land. So it is under the Arab conquest that the Jews lost their homeland. The Arabs were the colonials. The Jews were the natives dispossessed. Well, that happens in history. The Jews were dispossessed. We were flung to the far corners of the earth, suffered unimaginable suffering because we had no homeland. But we didn't disappear, and we never gave up the dream of coming back to our ancestral homeland. The Arabs who had conquered the land basically left it barren. They never made it their own. It was a barren land. It really had, practically it was an empty land. And in the 19th century, the idea of coming back next year in Jerusalem became a reality. By the way, in part because of Christian Zionist support for the idea of the Great Return. The Jews came back in the 19th century to the land of Israel. The result of this return was that we started building farms, factories, places of employment. Arabs from nearby countries started immigrating, and they called themselves Palestinians. They reconstructed history and said, we've been here for centuries. You have no right to be here. It's our land. It's not your land. It's been our land for 3,500 years. If you took over somebody's apartment, knocked them out, dispossessed them, and they never gave up the claim. They said, it's our claim. And you left this barren dump, okay? And the families, the progeny of the people you kicked out, came back, rebuilt the house. You cannot come back and tell them, you don't belong here, we're gonna kick you out. especially since you're latecomers who've come to live in, in part of the house, which is what the so-called Palestinians are. Okay? We say to them, you can live here, we can live here, but it's our land, it's our state. And the reason this conflict continues is because the Palestinians, who represent the colonial powers, the Arab conquest of the Middle East and beyond, they're saying, you have no right for a Jewish state. Well, we do. If any people has any right to a state, if any people never gave up their dreams of returning to their ancestral home, the Jews belong to this land belongs to the Jews, the Palestinians are free to live here next to us, among us, but they're not free to demand the dissolution of the Jewish state. That is not justice, that is injustice. That's the shortest lecture I can give you about Jewish history.
Now, what the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to say, that is the true history of the Israelites. That's the true history of the Jewish people, all right? If you wish to know more about this, you can check my earlier video titled The Israeli and Palestinian Conflict Explained in a Simple Way. And also, I will recommend, because I don't want to be political, but this channel is not meant for political topics. It's just more or less like I just have to discuss this a bit because it's something that is happening, right? But if you want to be getting live updates, you really want to get to know more about the Israeli people and updates, how they live and all those kind of things, I recommend this channel, thetravelingisraeli.com. I think thetravelingisraeli.com. I'll drop it in the description, in my description. In the description, you'll see that I'll drop the name of the channel there, so you can check it out. So having said that, once again, this is the end of this video. Subscribe to this channel, turn off the notification bell, like the video so that the YouTube algorithm will know that it's a video worth promoting, and as well, share it with your family and friends. All right, so thank you. See you again next week. Bye bye. So you can get to know more about the Dixon Daniel brand through this link, and it gives you a short profile of what I do, my products and services, just in a bit. All right, so you can just visit to check to see the products and services I offer. I have my books placed on Amazon. I have my titles on Amazon. You can visit my store to see the products and services I offer. You can follow me on my Facebook page, and you can check out my signature services, the Financial Breakthrough Challenge and the one-on-one clarity session. So I look forward to building a relationship with you, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.